Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. I apologize. We had to move the meeting 10 minutes late. We ran over in the executive, and I apologize for those who have been waiting 10 minutes. Welcome to the board meeting of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey and its component units. It's now being called to order. Today's in-person meeting is also being held virtually via video conference with the proceedings live streamed from the Port Authority website. On September 17th, the Audit and Finance Committee met in executive session. Earlier today, the Committee on Finance met in executive. The reports will be filed with the official minutes of today's board meeting. Commissioners also met in executive earlier today to discuss matters related to security or public safety, matters related to the purchase, sale, or lease of real property where disclosure would affect the whole thereof or the public interest, matters related to personnel proceedings, and matters involving ongoing negotiations, reviews of contracts, or proposals. All right, we're going to begin today's meeting on obviously a very somber and serious note. We have lost two members of the Port Authority family. We have lost Henry Tomasafi, who passed in July. Henry was a mechanic at John F. Kennedy International Airport for 11 years, served as a mechanic, and that was just not his job. And you talk to his colleagues, it was his passion. Henry was known for being selfless and willing to always help and give a helping hand to others, and he'll be deeply missed by his colleagues. We also lost our former executive director, Robert Boyle, who passed in August. He served as the executive director from March 1997 to April 2001, and he helped lead this agency during a very difficult time. Robert was known, for those who knew him, for his congeniality and friendliness, and he will be missed. If we can just ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence for those two. Thank you. In the larger Port Authority family, we have people close to home. I know Greg Erie's dad passed away recently, and James Allen's father-in-law, and we pass condolences on to our Port Authority family. At this time, September is obviously a very special month for this agency, given its history, and we're going to ask our Chief Procurement Officer, Lillian Valenti, is going to review the events that we held earlier this month to commemorate those we lost in the 9/11 terrorist attack and those we lost in 1993 terrorist bombing. Lillian has been, our North Star of keeping us reminded of what's really important at this agency. What holds us together is not only our purpose and our mission of providing these transportation needs for the largest agency, but also remembering those who have come before us and sacrificed. And Lillian, I want to thank you and Alan and all the folks who have put this together and made this front and center. So please walk us through what occurred the last couple of weeks and kind of remind everybody what's so important about the Port Authority.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to do this. As you just said, I enter this conversation. Collectively, we are committed to never forgetting the victims of 9/11 or 1993. In that commitment, we also want to preserve history, including the extraordinary heroism in rescue, recovery, restoring, rebuilding efforts, as well as the resilience of victims' families and staff. Today I'm going to take you through a set of events in consecutive order that we did during the week of 2011 in a way that tries to keep this commitment and keep it going. In doing that, I'm going to be speaking on behalf of myself and Alan Reese through our collective eyes. Alan Reese is currently the Deputy Chief of Major Capital Programs and was the Director of the World Trade Department on 9/11. He and I have been together decades, both surviving 93 and 9/11, and interestingly have talked to each other a lot through text or even Blackberries back then, every day since September 12, 2001 through the present time. A commitment not only to this objective, but to everything of moving forward with the agency. We'd like you and the public to think about this with the 3 R's, as these 3 R's relate to 1993 and 9/11, and they're action verbs: reflect, remember, respect. So let me start with the first event of the week of 9/11. It's a challenging week, and we're starting with the Rose Service. something that was very, very moving to us and initiated as part of the 20th anniversary celebration. We all gather as individuals by the reflecting pools. The reflecting pools being around the original footprints of the North and South Towers. We each take a yellow rose with PA victims' names on it from 9/11 and 1993 and place it where their name is inscribed in granite on the reflective pools. The sound of running water and its reflection and the modern symbol of a yellow rose of strength, hope, and capacity to life helps me and Alan take a step back and reflect and do justice as we place that rose in its granite's name and remember all of what we know about that person, particularly since Alan and I have a long set of tenure. We leave there not only with a spiritual peacefulness, but also a spiritual energy that helps us through the ensuing days. I move to the next. Remember, the next day we changed the tenor a little bit. We moved to recognizing employees and nominating those employees who have a high standard of public service, as well as those who embody the characteristics and qualities of those people who perished on 9/11 or 1993. We recognize them and nominate them in areas such as strength, resilience, ethics and integrity, community engagement. And we celebrate them for these characteristics. Today, in this year, we made 14 awards, including one posthumously. But this is the real important part of this particular event. It is important and necessary to move beyond names, beyond the noun, employee, and look at the extraordinary accomplishments and contributions of staff that continue the legacies of those who perished, but also create new legacies. For those of us who have attended this event in this year and years past, I think I can speak for everybody, including myself. You feel inspired and you have pride and you feel empowered and you realize the sheer impact of positive reinforcement at solemn times. Remember again, the third event, or an event that occurs throughout the month of September. We categorize it as remembrance through renewal. Again, it's an event to honor the public service legacies of those who perished before us, but also to give back and demonstrate to the communities their value to us. This year we did 35 events across the entire region, including New York, New Jersey, and Long Island. And it gives all of our employees, regardless of level, an opportunity to feel satisfied and really behave in a way that tells our communities that their engagement matters. Respect, a very, very important characteristic. Well, the month of September is designed through a number of services and activities to keep our never forget commitment. It also recognizes the healing component of gathering together in one place and serves as a reminder of the energy and unity that allows, and comes from doing so on such a day that is absolutely deserving of ultimate respect to everyone, but especially victims' families. In particular, Ellen and I have found the services at St. Peter's Church on September 11th of every year and February 26th of every year to be particularly poignant and significant. We have attended this year up to 24 for 9/11 and 31 for 93. And it has become a very necessary part and valued part of our culture. And we have gone through various life cycles with those people that we have gone to the services together with. I do want to pause now and take a step back and over my left-hand shoulder acknowledge Greg Erie, the Chief Security Officer, and Superintendent Zetnar, and all of the men and women of the Port Authority Police Department and the unions for your remarkable dedication every single day that we very much value. We are deeply, deeply grateful for your service and deeply respectful to the fact that, unfortunately, the 37 police officers who lost their, and police personnel who lost their life represent the largest loss of life on a percentage basis in the history of the Port Authority. We've seen pictures up there. We pay tribute and acknowledge the solemn services that you've had on your commands where there have been massive losses like Path. And we also are proud to value what the PBA does in terms of its remembrance events this year held at the Liberty House. So what have we learned as I end this? We've learned that individuals react very differently to what they want to reflect, remember, and respect. Some may be too private, some might want ceremonies and celebrations, some might want to volunteer. But throughout it all, every single individual that we have come upon wants to hear stories and acknowledge the remarkable times that we have been through. So as we enter into the 25th year of the anniversary of 9/11, I believe that we have a very extraordinary opportunity to leverage historic preservation. We can go beyond names with respect to the victims and beyond names with respect to retirees and employees and hear their stories and capture them. And the whole world will be watching next year. Longer term, we have a challenge. We have the challenge right now. We need to pass the baton to carry this forward. 30% of the existing active employees were 8 years or younger on 9/11. 50% of active employees were in high school or younger. So it's time moves on, and we have to keep moving on. But in the recognition that there are individual differences, but one core mission that will not change as time moves on, we will continue to keep our commitment to reflect, remember, and respect. And most certainly, we will never forget. On behalf of Alan and I, we thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts, not through just our eyes, but our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Lil. Lillian, nobody else could have said that with such conviction and authenticity. Thank you very much. You know, I know we have a lot of business today, but there's nothing more important than what we're going to discuss for the next few minutes. You know, that the week that Lillian talked about is so special, and it's so, you know, it's so encompassing. You know, when we did the rose ceremony, it was just a wonderful remembrance. And I talked about it at the church, and I just pulled the Douglas Carpel off his name and talked about like who he was. And as I was putting the flower next to his name, a coworker came next to me and said that she had worked with Doug and talked about what a wonderful human being he was, and I felt compelled to look him up. And I think, consistent with what Lillian said, coming on the 25 years next year, I just think we have to do something really so bold, meaningful, wonderful, deserving, representative of the folks we lost, to tell their stories every day. So when new employees come up and we say the 84 employees that died and the 6 who passed away, plus the unborn baby in '93, and the 37 members who are wearing our uniform, we should know more about them, and there should be a story told. There should be some type of remembrance, a monument. I know we have a story digitally, but I think we need to do more than that, and I think there's a committee or some folks are working on it. It's just so moving. It is just so remembering of who we are and what we are. When I went to a roll call that morning at 5:30, I heard the 37 men and women, the names that were called off, and I said that we just got to do more than just call them off. So I know Greg and Ed Setner are going to do something more permanent that's going to tell their stories every single day. And I think having the pillars and the 14 awards we gave, including the family who lost their dad and their husband who passed away, they serve and they do the service calls and are giving an award in the name of those people who have died. And Commissioner Fine, when I saw your face, I saw your reaction in the church, it just spoke to all of us that you represent the commissioners of the last, since 104 years, remembering all the good that's been done. When Commissioner Eve and I saw Commissioner Helmy and all the folks who came to 9/11, we all stand and represent all the commissioners and all the employees and all the executive directors that have come and served for the last 104 years. And going forward, we all have an obligation, each of the employees, the 8,000, each of the commissioners, and each of our senior staff and our executive director, we have an obligation to tell the story, preserve that memory of those people who have passed away, either through a disease they got working on the pile, or whether they died in 9/11, or whether they died in 1993, whether they died on the job working for this particular agency. And that's what makes this agency so special. And Commissioner Dominguez, you talk about how special it is, and Commissioner LaBarbera talks about how special this is. That's why this commission is so special. That's why this agency is so special, because it's the blood that was shed by those folks that we have to put our mission forward. We embrace them. We're not just a transportation agency. We're in a human capacity, talking about our fellow man and woman who have been here and doing things that are life-changing for 104 years, and people have given their life for that. So we have to do something, Lillian and crew, something that is so permanent and respectful and authentic next year. And I'm looking forward to having those discussions. And to all the commissioners, I ask you next year, the 25th, do something. Show up at the Roses ceremony, show up at the church, show up at the 9/11, do something and see part of what is going on. It's really wonderful, it's sad, it's respectful, but when I see the names being called out, it just brings us all back to why we're here. Important stuff. I just want to share some of those comments with you. Anybody else want to share? If not, we're going to move ahead. Anybody else? All righty, thank you all. And then continuing on that, we do have a special guest here. Janelle, where's Janelle? Janelle, come on up. So Janelle McMillan is someone that I met for the first time. Rick and I were doing the tour, and she's just she's working as one of our employees, and then she turns to us and casually says, "Oh, by the way, I was the last one pulled out of, was it Tower 1, I think it was."
Yes.
And I said, "Well, you got to tell your story, Janelle. You have to tell your story." Now, if you don't mind, Janelle, and there was an interview you had with People magazine.
Yes, I did.
Now, do you mind if I read just a couple to set the stage for this before?
Sure.
So, and I got this from our folks. She was interviewed by People magazine, and she also wrote her own book, which I have not read, but I will read that book because that tells a story about a lot. Here's what the interview says, and I'm going to just quote. "Everything just went boom," she recalls. "Everything was crumbling and was just coming on top of me." Janelle Guzman McMillan would be buried for more than a day. "I felt like I was there forever," she said. "I just thought I was dreaming. I just figured this was to be a dream. This is not happening. I don't know if anybody was going to find me. I just laid there. I heard everything was going on. I heard someone cry out for help in a very faint voice. I could hear the trucks and the walkie-talkies going off. But I couldn't call out for some reason," she said. "Dust in my mouth, my nose. I was just lying there. Just didn't know what to do, what to say. And the pain, it was shooting like steel, was sticking in my side by my stomach. I only had my left hand loose. I was trying to position myself to kind of ease the pain, but it didn't help. I tried to put my head down and realized that it was really wedged and stuck. I was thinking I was going to die. I knew I wasn't going to get out. I was preparing myself to die, she explained. Then I decided to pray. I just knew that I wanted to live because I wanted to see my daughter, Kimberly. She was 12 at the time. And I just begging and praying, asking to God to show me a miracle. And then I was giving up. And I said, oh, God, I can't take this anymore, when I heard someone call out my name. And he said, I got you. My name is Paul. And as she recalled, he grabbed on her hand, and he held on her hand, and he was talking to her and said, telling you I'm going to be fine. And then you spent 27 hours in the rubble before the rescuers arrived. Obviously, your leg was crushed, head was swollen, in the hospital for a month. And the positive to that, as I understand it, your then boyfriend took you to City Hall soon thereafter and proposed, and you got married.
Yes.
Hell of a story. When I heard the story, I said, Janelle, you have to come and tell it. The board wants to hear it. We want to come and, just say thank you, and obviously share with us some of what you went through and talk about your life here in the Port Authority. So, Janelle, welcome.
Thank you for having me, and I think you tell the story really well, Kevin. And I just want to say I'm so grateful to be part of this event today, to be able to always remember 9/11, never forget it. And as you said, as you mentioned, I was working on the 64th floor on the first tower that I got hit that day. I made it to the 13th staircase, and that's when the building collapsed with me on the 13th staircase. I stood there. I was buried for over 27 hours with no way to turn or to move. I spent almost 3 months actually in the hospital trying to walk again to recuperate. On that fateful day, I lost 13 of my co-workers. I was fortunate to get a second chance. I'm so grateful today to be here to tell my story, but my story is not just a story, it's a living, walking testimony of God's grace on my life as well. And, I'm just forever grateful and being faithful and walking to that path that I made that promise to him under the rubble that day. And working for the Port Authority has been such an honor. I officially became a Port Authority employee after 9/11, so it's been 22 years now I've been working with the Port Authority, and I'm grateful for that. With that said, I think about my coworkers who was gone that day, and each year as 9/11 comes about, I pray for the family to find that peace and comfort that, we got to move beyond it, and life is, we have to get through adversity in our life, and life is meant to be enjoyable. But it's sad, I know, how it seems for people to not forget about it. I would never forget about it, and I don't expect anybody to forget about it. But just pushing yourself forward to move forward, and just know that there is hope, and there is a God, and He's real. So with that said, I wrote my book. I explain everything in details of how my rescue was. It was truly a miracle because I'm standing here today, and it's by God's grace only that I was really pulled out of that rubble. I really thought I was going to die. There was no way I thought, someone would find me under 80-something floors come crashing down on top of me. And, I prayed so hard, never prayed so hard in my life, but during that time, I was conscious through it all, so I knew exactly what was going on. It was a moment that I said to myself, is this a dream? Am I dreaming? I just want to wake up from this bad dream. But I realized I was actually breathing, and I could hear everything around me, so I knew it was reality that I was completely stuck and pinned under the rubble and just was preparing myself to die, just not wanting to wake up. But today I'm here. As you see, the miracle is real, and there is a God, and I'm so forever grateful. And my lifestyle before was really not of, knowing God, but being under the rubble, I found Him that day. And after I got off of the hospital, I truly reunited with my boyfriend at the time. I got married that same year of 2001, and I have 2 other kids after my marriage. And my kids are grown now. I'm an empty nester, home nester. But
Does that make you sad or not so sad?
Yes, I'm a empty nester now. My last kid is in college, and it's just life has been a change, of tremendous change for me. It changed my life totally, and it was a wake-up call for me. I looked at it that way because my life was really wild before, and I just take this as never for granted. You know, just trusting in the process, knowing that, you know, I may not gone where I was intended to go, but I think I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. And by God's grace and plan and purpose for my life, I just thank Him and worship and praise Him. And for the family who are not here with us today, I continue to pray for their, you know, for their loved ones, for their support, and just trust in the process, that knowing that, you know, things are going to get better. It's not always about our time and us, but it's just trusting in the higher power, and I believe in that totally. And I just want to thank you guys for having me today to share my story, and, you know, knowing that I am so grateful. We will never forget 9/11. I would never forget it, and I just know that it's going to get better, and, you know, I'm just trusting in faith and hope and adversity to overcome this one day.
Well, Janelle, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you very much. That was very moving. Next, I'm sorry, we have, we're going to stand for a moment of silence specifically for 1993 folks who passed away and for the bombing victims of 9/11. We could just stand for a quick moment of silence. Thank you. Is Dennis Stabile here? Dennis, front and center. Dennis is Deputy Director of TB&T. He's going to speak about the GWB Restoration Program and Roebling Steel, and we got a brief presentation.
Great, thank you, Chairman.
How's that program?
Moving along well.
All right.
So,
Mike is all yours.
okay, thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, Commissioners, Executive Director Cotton. So, as you are aware, we are well underway on the $2 billion Restoring the George program. The program consists of 11 high-priority structural rehabilitation projects to ensure that the GWB remains a reliable crossing for the foreseeable future. At the center of this ambitious program is the project to replace all 592 suspender ropes. The project has just reached a key milestone earlier this year in completing replacement of all those ropes. It is notable to mention that the original ropes were manufactured by the John A. Roebling's Sons Company. This legendary company played a significant role in the construction of numerous suspension bridges in our nation. The visionary design, craftsmanship, and quality of these Roebling suspender ropes has literally enabled the support of the bridge roadway for the last 94 years, allowing it to become the world's busiest bridge, carrying over 100 million vehicles per year. In honor of the Roebling Company's contribution in playing such a critical role in supporting the George Washington Bridge, and thereby the growth of the region, last week the Port Authority staff donated several sections of the original suspender rope to put on an exhibit in the Roebling Museum in Roebling, New Jersey. And the staff, I spoke to them afterwards, and they're very proud and honored to be part of that event. Thank you.
Chairman, I'm sorry, Dennis, can you call up the folks from Roebling?
Sure. Okay,
Right.
so we have some members of, come
Come on up, introduce yourselves.
Hi. Thank you very much for having us. I am Nicole Melendez. I'm actually a structural engineer, but I'm on the board at the Roebling Museum just out of my own passion for history and the specific topic.
I'm Lynn Calamia. I'm the executive director at the museum.
I'm Martha Moore. I'm on the board of the museum. I'm a volunteer, and I'm also a descendant of John A. Roebling, the man who made American suspension bridges possible.
Very cool. We have a video. Someone want to cue that up?
The George Washington Bridge is one of the most iconic structures in the New York metropolitan area.
a double-decked suspension bridge linking New York and New Jersey, carrying more traffic than any other bridge in the world. What makes this engineering marvel possible is not just its elegant design, but the strength of its massive steel cables. The wire rope that makes up the cables and suspension ropes were fabricated by the John A. Roebling's Sons Company, a legendary firm whose name is synonymous with American bridge building. The Roebling Company, founded by the engineer behind the Brooklyn Bridge, was selected to produce the wire for the George Washington Bridge's main cables in the late 1920s. At the time, it was one of the largest wire fabrication projects ever undertaken. The company's facilities in Trenton and Roebling, New Jersey, rolled out more than 100,000 miles of wire that were bundled together into the 4 great cables that still hold the bridge today. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey worked closely with Roebling to ensure the bridge's durability and safety, cementing a partnership that contributed not only to the success of the George Washington Bridge, but also to countless other infrastructure projects across the nation. From suspension bridges to transit systems, the Roebling Company's steel is literally woven into the fabric of New York and New Jersey's growth. Now, nearly a century later, the legacy of Roebling's craftsmanship continues. The Port Authority recently completed a historic suspender rope replacement project on the George Washington Bridge, the largest of its kind ever attempted. This project replaced the original suspender ropes, which have supported the bridge since its opening in 1931, with new, state-of-the-art steel. While technology has advanced, the principles remain the same. Strong, flexible steel cables are the lifelines of a suspension bridge. The George Washington Bridge stands today not only as a vital transportation link, but also as a living tribute to the ingenuity of the Roebling's Sons Company, the Port Authority, and bridge designer Otmar Ammann. Every vehicle that crosses the Hudson River here does so on the foundation built by Roebling, ensuring that the company's contributions continue to shape the region's infrastructure and legacy well into the future.
Crazy good. So if I can have the board members, commissioners come up with the Roebling folks, we have a special heavy presentation tonight. Jeff, everybody, commissioners come up, ED. Dennis, come on up. We'll just line the tables here. Rick? What do you think? Yep. That's significant, right? All right, Vice Chair, you get the privilege of reading it and presenting it. Right.
You help hold it, right. The original suspender rope.
Come on up.
Come on over here.
You got it?
The original suspender rope from the George Washington Bridge, supplied by John A. Roebling's Sons Company, is proudly presented to the Roebling Museum, a piece of history honoring the Roebling's lasting contributions to American bridge engineering this September 25th, 2025, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. And we really thank you so much.
Congratulations. Got it?
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Can we say something, Mr.
Please do. You have the microphone is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Microphone is yours. Please do.
We just want to say thank you properly. Good morning, commissioners, Port Authority executive staff, and especially our friends, the structural engineers. My name is Martha Moore. As I said, I'm a board member of the Roebling Museum. I'm a docent, and I'm also a multi-great-grandchild of John Roebling, the man who created American suspension bridges. On behalf of all of us at the Roebling Museum, I just want to say thank you so much to the Port Authority for making this gift to the museum and for recognizing the important connection between the GWB and the remarkable place that is Roebling, New Jersey, the company town built by the John A. Roebling Sons Company in 1905. The Roebling Museum tells the story of this 120-year-old company town and of the workers, most of them newly arrived Americans who built some of the most iconic landmarks of the industrial age, including the George Washington Bridge, a powerful example of the legacy. And we will use the wire rope that you've donated to the museum to tell that story. The bridge artifacts you've donated are more than steel, wire, nuts, and bolts. They are a reminder of the people behind the engineering, and all of the workers and families whose lives were bound up in these achievements. And they're a symbol of two things we talk about at the Roebling Museum: how innovation and immigration created the American century. At the Roebling Museum, we keep those stories alive and share them for the benefit of future generations and visitors from around the world. Thank you again to the Port Authority for entrusting us and bringing home these pieces of history, and for helping us share the story of the George Washington Bridge and the people who made it possible. We hope to see you all very soon at the Roebling Museum.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All righty, now, before we hear from the members of the public, we're going to hear from our Executive Director. Rick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to start by thanking Janelle for her comments and for the extraordinary example that you set in terms of the spirit of the Port Authority and for representing really the best and of our employees. And we are deeply grateful to you for your commitment and your really continued example that you set for all of us, so thank you. Also want to thank Lillian Valenti for her comments and for describing what the agency has gone through and goes through every September. We will never forget, and thank you, Lillian, for your long service. Port Authority also continues to be grateful and to thank our nearly 8,000 employees. We recognize that it is their efforts and their energy which enables the agency to accomplish what it does. 2/3 of those are represented by 23 unions, and we express our gratitude for the hard work not only of these union members, but for the partnership of the union leaders who represent them. I want now to touch briefly on the volumes of each of the divisions of our agency for August 2025. Airports really had an extraordinary month. In August, taken as a whole, the airport set a record for the busiest single month in the history of the agency. Across the three major airports, August 2025 was also the busiest month for international travelers in the history of the agency. Both JFK and Newark Airport set records for the busiest month of passengers in their history. LaGuardia had the busiest month of August in its history. And despite the limitations placed by the number of flights operating out of Newark Liberty, on an hourly basis, Newark Liberty's volumes were 4% above August 24. Passenger levels remain strong at Newark as airlines utilize bigger planes and higher passenger loads on their existing routes. At the seaport in the month of August, performance of container throughput continued to be strong. The seaport handled nearly 836,000 TEUs, 10-foot equivalent units, 23% more than pre-COVID August 2019, and 12% more than it handled in August of last year. The Port of New York and New Jersey continues to rank among the strongest in the nation, and this month was the second busiest in the country as measured by loaded containers. The Port Authority, the agency, continues to monitor the impacts of global trade policies on port volumes and will continue to keep the board updated as we go forward. With respect to bridges and tunnels, at our 4 bridges and 2 tunnels, traffic in the month of August was actually 2% above August of 2024. With respect to autos only, August 2025 was 2.2% above August 2024 volumes. Against the budget, autos were close to plan, being 0.6% below the budget. PATH ridership in August 2025 was 71% of pre-COVID 2019 volumes and was 7.3% higher than its volumes in August of last year. So very strong performance across the agency by each of our facilities. One final note, the Midtown Bus Terminal replacement project is moving, I'm pleased to say, along smartly. Since the last update to the board in July, progress continues to be made. On August 8th, the construction agreement to build the first phase of the bus terminal was awarded to Tutor Perini, followed closely by the award of the master construction management agreement. So I'm delighted to report there is good progress on all fronts. With that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my report.
Thank you very much, Rick. All righty, moving ahead, we're now going to provide an opportunity for members of the public to comment on Port Authority matters. This public comment period, which may be limited to 30 minutes in total, provides an opportunity for members of the public to present their views directly to the board, but not provide necessarily a back and forth dialogue. Members of the public wishing to discuss a specific issue with Port Authority staff are advised to contact our Public Affairs Department. Speakers are limited to a time of 3 minutes. Our first speaker is Governor James McGreevey. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, or executive director, or chief of staff. Thank you for the opportunity to address you regarding a PATH. For Jersey City, PATH is not a convenience. Some would argue it's a lifeline. Every morning and every evening, tens of thousands of our residents pour into stations that are now surrounded by residential towers. Every weekend, families and workers alike depend on PATH for access to employment, schools, and the economic engine of our region. The reality is quite simply, Jersey City moves on PATH, and PATH must necessarily rise to meet Jersey City's needs. Today, our riders are telling us with their footsteps, as well as their frustration, that the system is unfortunately falling behind. Weekend and midday ridership has not only significantly recovered, but is climbing rapidly. Thousands of new households near PATH stations are fully occupied. Yet, trains unfortunately remain stuck in a sometimes outdated schedule, forcing riders into unnecessary detours through Hoboken or overcrowded platforms. Riders who pay their fares in good faith deserve better. So the call is clear. First, to expand weekend and midday service. PATH must reflect the current patterns of not only Jersey City, but indeed our region, not the commuting habits of 20 years ago. Eliminating what has been called, quote, around-the-world service and adding frequency will ease overcrowding and restore confidence for residents who've made their homes, lives, and livelihoods in close proximity to PATH stations. Second is to boost investment in PATH infrastructure, as I know this chairman and this board have committed. Riders are frequently frustrated by delays and sometimes outdated equipment. They want to be able to rely on a system that is modern, reliable, and resilient. Every breakdown, every stalled train, every bottleneck, unfortunately, chips away on the trust that commuters place within the system. As we all recognize Jersey City is growing, PATH must grow in tandem. And third is the redevelopment of Journal Square Transportation Center. And for this, Jersey City ought to look to a full partnership. If Journal Square is the beating heart of Jersey City's transportation network, we need to do better. The hub, as we all recognize, is outdated and significantly overburdened. Riders need more elevators and escalators, better bus connections, and a vision that leverages innovative redevelopment to meet both public and private needs. Without this reinvestment in the hub, simply put, the Path Hub will be unable to support the next chapter of Jersey City's growth. So I look forward for a productive partnership and investment in the hub. The urgency here cannot be overstated. Every delay in expanding service, every year without reinvestment, is a year in which Jersey City commuters unfortunately lose time, opportunity, and faith. This is not simply a matter of convenience. It is a matter of the daily rigor which our riders demand, the competitiveness of our businesses and our region, as well as the livability of our neighborhoods. If PATH is the backbone of our city's mobility and economic vitality, by acting now and investing in service, infrastructure, and particularly the PATH Hub, this board will not only alleviate the frustrations of today's riders, but lay the foundation of a progressive, dynamic future, not only for Jersey City, but indeed cooperative economic lines to the region. Our residents, our workers, and our families respectfully deserve no less. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
Governor, thank you very much. Appreciate your comments, and appreciate you working with our senior staff the last few months, and hopefully the next month or so you'll hear some movement. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members.
Commissioner Lipsky? Commissioner? Hudson County Commissioner? No, Jim? Councilman Gilmore, Frank Gilmore? Ward F? No? All righty. Katie Brennan? Good afternoon. No.
Thank you, Chairman and members.
Soon to be Assemblywoman. Can I say that?
Not yet, not yet.
Right.
But thank you. Thank you all for coming to Jersey City. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces here today. And what a day to come here. Thank you, Janelle, where she went for her service. And I saw the Roebling folks step out, but that was also very cool. I worked in the original Roebling factory in Trenton, which is now the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, but it's a really cool building if you've never been there. So go visit the museum and the factory. Hello, everybody. My name is Katie Brennan, Journal Square resident, and yes, candidate and Democratic nominee for New Jersey State Assembly. As a resident, a frequent user of the PATH, the Port Authority Bus Terminal, Newark Airport, and of course, consumer of goods from the seaport, and hopefully an soon elected representative for Jersey City and Hoboken, I'm really here because I hope to be a dedicated partner for you all in the Assembly. And first, I want to acknowledge just the enormous amount of work that the Port Authority is conducting. I want to thank you for your commitment to the PATH trains. As you all well know, the PATH is not only one of the busiest systems in the entire country, but the lifeblood of our economy. People live and work in Jersey City and Hoboken in no small part because of the PATH. Businesses consider moving here because of the PATH. The region that the PATH touches on the New Jersey side generates an outsized portion of the state's GDP. So thank you. And I will not repeat what you've heard today about weeknight and weekend headways or the Journal Square terminal, which yes, is all true. And yes, we still need improvements. But what I really ask is that you keep us writers in the loop. Your communication about the most recent Hoboken shutdown was really appreciated. It really was. It went smoothly. You were shut down over the Labor Day holiday, and now we're back up and running. We PATH writers are a hardy bunch and can understand temporary pain in the service of a better outcome as long as we can prepare accordingly. So thank you for your time. I look forward to continue to working with you, be it funding, partnership, input, or patience. We are here for you. So thank you.
Katie, thank you very much. And after you win, if you want to sit and get briefed by our staff, senior staff, about issues relative to
I would love that,
City
sure.
Hoboken, we'd love to do that. So
I would love that.
Ben Feldman, we'll put that together.
I know how
Ben?
to get to Ben.
You know Ben, right?
Yes. Don't worry.
Yeah. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate it. Daniel Siccardi, welcome.
My name is Daniel Siccardi. I'm a resident of Jersey City, and I'm here representing Advocates to Assets LLC. In 2019, we purchased a lien on 120 Academy Street, which is owned by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. The amount of the lien is approximately $25,000 plus, and since then, we have contacted every person that we could think of as it relates to who has any responsibility in this matter, only because of the fact that if we have to go to trial, we have to get a lawyer, and the Port Authority will have to reimburse us for that as well. I've contacted numerous people, and I've given them all the information in regards to lot, the block, the particular lien in question, and no one has gotten back to me at all other than to say they're trying to figure out whose responsibility it is. Again, this is 120 Academy Street in Jersey City, also referred to as the Waldo Street substation. Absolutely nobody has gotten back to me, and I would like to know what the story is, because my lawyer will probably be an additional $3,000, and I've already made like probably $20,000 on a $25,000 investment because we've had it since 2019. Okay? So that being said, I think I've done everything for my wife's business that will keep me responsible. I just want to add one thing in regards to the two previous people from the public that spoke in regards to the Journal Square area and the Journal Square substation. I grew up in Queens, and there was the 74th Street, Roosevelt Avenue hub there, which is totally filled up to the max, and was totally filled up to the max 50 years ago when I moved away. And you've got to take that into consideration, especially when you have the number 7 train stopping at 42nd Street, and how wonderful it would be to have another way of going into Manhattan. Take that into consideration. And I'm surprised I managed to say what I needed to do without using up all my time. I appreciate
Thank you very much.
everybody's time.
Jack McKee? Welcome, Jack.
Thank you, Commissioner. Jack McKee, I'm here as the campaign director for A Better Path with Hudson County Complete Streets. I want to start by acknowledging the Path Forward project again, the ongoing work that you're doing not just for the Path, but for all of Port Authority. I know that we're not the only thing that you have to focus on, and the work is appreciated. As you know, we still would like improvements to off-peak headways. The community says weekends most of all. However, I also note that weekday workers, first responders, people like an RN, like my mother who served for 40 years, they usually go in off-peak hours. She went in at 3 p.m., 9 a.m., and worked long shifts. Not here, but Long Branch. She had the convenience of driving for 10 minutes, but people in Jersey City, Newark, they do not always have that convenience. I also want to thank you for the level of communication and cooperation we've experienced. The campaign, we've been in steady contact with you guys, and I know that there are several events coming up that really do allow me to talk to the rider community and say, ease up, they're cooperating with us, we know what's going on. And that, echoing what some other people have said, riders are willing to go through a lot if they understand it's for a greater good down the road. They understand that their lives, their children's lives will become easier, and Jersey City and Newark and Harrison and Hoboken, can't forget Hoboken, remain places and will become even better places to live, to open a business. They'll go through a lot, so we just ask that communication continues. We can handle tough news, bad news, but we can't handle no news. That people, they get spitting mad, to put it in simple terms. And you wouldn't believe the coalition I've spoken to, and it's absolutely one voice that we need this. And I'm talking first responders, I'm talking the restaurant industry, I'm talking million-dollar developers. Everyone is on the same page because a path that people can count on creates the kind of certainty that business loves and families can plan around. So, and on a personal level, it's like my partner rides it to work every single morning. And I know that the NTSB is looking into the event at Newport and Hoboken. But it does, you know, I let her know that morning. I said, you're going to be taking the ferry to work, it looks like. And it does frighten people, and with good reason. I know that you are addressing that. I know the NTSB is addressing that. And I'll end on thanking you for the manner in which you handled the Hoboken repairs. That was great. It was crystal clear. People understood what, when, why, and could have planned accordingly way ahead of time. So looking forward to continuing to work with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate the comments. Murray Bowden.
Kevin, your staff is excellent. They've taken very good care of me today. I have to have a little disclaimer. First, I'm one of those people who has dementia. I know it. I deal with it. And knowing it and talking about it is important. I have a list of things here that have to be addressed. I'll give you the list. I can't do it. It's somebody else's responsibility. Enforcement of the rules isn't there. Well, I'm going to read you the list and see what you can do. Air traffic controllers are not needed. The planes that flew from California to Europe and dropped the bound buses, the refueling was done by a drone, by nobody in the cockpit. You don't need air traffic controllers. It should be automatic. You know where all the cars are, everything. I get mixed up. All the arrows need to be up and give you direction where the lane goes to. When there's an auxiliary lane, we don't need to say only. We know it's an auxiliary lane. And the information as to where it goes should be at the beginning of the lane, not at the end. The dotted lines tell you it's an auxiliary lane that goes somewhere else. All the arrows need to be pointing up and give you an idea of where you're going to go when you get to the intersection where it goes. Right now it says just to be in this lane, no advanced information. All lines on the driver's left should be yellow, on a right, white. When Robert Moses designed parkways and they were ribbon parks, he painted the white line so you knew where the exit was. Today, all of the lines on the left need to be yellow, white on the right. And if there's a fire zone, a double white line and not yellow. There's a lot of catching up to do. Crosswalks. Crosswalks are designed when people didn't know. Now people standing still. Crosswalk is more important for the driver, not the pedestrian. The only one that works for the driver is the parallel bar. The driver can see it everywhere. And that goes, the double white yellow line needs to go on top of the crosswalk, not underneath it. The stop bar, the yellow line can extend past the stop bar so the driver has an idea. When it's at the stop bar, which is what they've done for years and years, it gets lost. I started to take, with your permission,
How much, can you wrap it up more?
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
I now carry a roll of blue tape, and when I see something that isn't right, like there's a handle for pulling and the door goes out, I tape it over. Because in an emergency, when you hear gunfire, you're going to run. And if you see a handle, it means pull. I'm taping them blue and putting a sign up that says push. Kevin, it's been a pleasure to work with you.
Thank you, Murray. Appreciate it.
You've done an excellent job, and I apologize for my not being able to be as articulate. I can hear everything that's being said, and I miss stuff, and I apologize if I've gone too far.
Thank you, Murray. Appreciate your comments. Thanks for coming out. Al-Therese Frazier. He's got here? Okay. One more.
Good afternoon, Chairman Matura, and good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Al Therese Frazier. I am a longtime resident of New Jersey and also raising my family in Newark, New Jersey. I'm here today in the opportunity to engage around shore power and the importance of it for our communities. As you know, I'm speaking to the choir and understanding that the Port of New York and New Jersey is the main gateway for the maritime cargo that comes into our community and handling the equivalent of possibly 8 million in TEUs, and that's annually. But the diesel fumes that come from ships idling really impacts our community's health, our community's health around the asthma, around the problems and the issues having with certain diseases towards our elders and our communities in their hearts, and also understanding that communities like Newark, Elizabeth, Bayonne, who receive a lot of these emissions coming into our community, really can have an opportunity of a cleaner community and a cleaner opportunity. And even before I go any deeper, I do want to bring to the table that I see the port director here, and I want to really bring that the port has been supportive of this engagement. We want to highlight the fact that your road to zero emissions is thorough, yet we also want to make sure that the movement is really happening in a pace where it really can affect the outcome of our future children. I'm standing here professionally as the port campaigner for Pacific Environment, a global, international, national organization that is focused on shipping and getting to decarbonization. Yet we want to do that, and we continue to do that with community. I'm formerly the president of Parents Engage with Parents, a statewide organization focused on making sure that parents and community are centered in these conversations. So I want to thank the port community and the commission and the director and her staff. I really shout out Tanja and the work that they've been doing at the department, the sustainability office. But I really need to but also bring forward that the benefits for shore power are so strong for our health and for our jobs and for climate competitiveness. Because the world is changing, and coming to the point of shore power, coming to the point of electrification is so now and so important. So I'm not here to come against or go against, but say that the continued partnership that we're establishing and that we're happening and communities are being closely involved in this conversation is thankful and supportive. So I look forward to continuing to bring up opportunities for partnership with this commission and with the Port of Authority. I want to thank you guys for your time.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it. All right, last speaker, Commissioner Lipsky. I'm told the commissioner has arrived.
Good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon, Commissioner. Thank you for taking me. I know I was a little late, but traffic and parking, you know how it is in Jersey City. And I'm not here to complain so much as, some concerns that my constituents came to me, and I have a letter here, and I think maybe you already got it, but I brought it anyway, because I've been trying to reach out to you and to meet with all of you to talk about that. And it's, in terms of the path, of speak and how we could work with that. And I know there's a lot of work that you've been doing in the past because I'm a path taken. I used to work in the city for so many years, 20 years to be exact. So that I took the path a lot. So, and I was way before COVID, so you know how crowded that was. So how about, I know things are not easy and things cannot just happen all of a sudden. Things need work. And you've been working with us, and we're trying to work with you. So, and I know you're very reachable because I've been dealing with some of you. Some of maybe are not here, but some of you know me, trying to work with the constituent, with our community in Jersey City. And in terms of the off-peak time, so can we try to work with that if it's possible, especially sometimes weekends? Sometimes I travel during weekend and I had to wait too long to get a train during the weekend. And I know how to do with the, population, the moving, if it's a lot of people using the train, if it's not, what have you. But just that for people that want to go to the city during the weekend. And I know I don't want to repeat everybody that I'm saying. You've been doing a great job with Hoboken. So we, the commissioner from there and I will talk about it, and we're very pleased with that. And also, what about to go to Newark Airport? This is something that is really easy because sometimes I just grab my luggage and my carry-on, and I could hop in the train, and I don't have to pay Uber or drive and then pay for parking over there. So those are the things that I bring it to you because my constituent brought it to me. And I don't know if it's feasible, if we could work with that, and or how we are, in terms of that, because I know that being already ongoing.
So, Commissioner, do you have a copy of the letter you can give to great. Can you give that to our board secretary?
Of course.
Great.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Jim, any other written statements or video statements?
No, Chairman.
Any other speakers sign up?
No, Chairman.
Thank you very much. We'll now proceed with the voting for today's board meeting. Each of the respective committee chairs will provide a brief report on each of the matters. As chair of the Committee on Operations, I will now present two items. The first item authorizes the Port Authority's continued participation as a member of Transcom, a not-for-profit coalition of 16 regional transportation operators for a 2-year period and an aggregate cost of $2.2 million, inclusive of an all membership of operations and maintenance fees for access to Transcom systems which support regional mobility. Prior to making a motion, I ask the Secretary, are there any recusals?
Commissioner Dominguez is recused.
Any questions or comments from the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Votes are in order. The item's been approved. The next item authorizes PATH's continued participation as a member of the Transcom for a 2-year period at an aggregate cost of $391,000, inclusive of all membership and operations and maintenance fees for access to Transcom systems. Prior to making a motion, I ask the Corporate Secretary, are there any recusals?
Commissioner Dominguez is recused.
Any comments or questions for the commissioners? Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Second.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
Votes are in order. The item has been approved. I now call upon our Vice Chair, Jeff Linford, to provide his report on behalf of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As Chair of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, I will now report on one item under the committee's purview. This item authorizes a $52.7 million project to rehabilitate 2 taxiways at John F. Kennedy International Airport. The work includes paving, lighting, and signage replacements, and drainage improvements required to maintain the taxiways in a state of good repair. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the Corporate Secretary to note any commissioner recusals.
There are none.
Thank you. Do any commissioners have questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I now request a motion on this item.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I now request the Corporate Secretary to call the roll for voting on the item.
Chairman O'Toole?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Linford?
Yes.
Commissioner Bolwage?
Yes.
Commissioner Dominguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Eve?
Yes.
Commissioner Fine?
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher?
Yes.
Commissioner Helmy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson?
Yes.
As the votes are in order, this item is approved. Mr. Chairman, I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Now call upon Commissioner McCabe as Vice Chair of the Committee on Finance.
Thank you, Chairman. As Vice Chair of the Committee on Finance, I am recommending to the committee for consideration a resolution authorizing the purchase of public liability insurance coverage for a 1-year term and insurance coverage for acts of terrorism for a 3-year term. The insurance provides coverage for all facilities of the Port Authority and its component units. This is a vote of the Finance Committee only. Prior to making a motion on this item, I ask the corporate secretary to note any committee members' recusals on this matter.
There are none.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, I now request a motion on this item.
So moved.
Can I have a second on this motion?
Second.
Thank you. I now request the corporate secretary to call the roll of the Committee on Finance for voting on this item.
Commissioner Fine,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LaBarbera,
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Commissioner Richardson.
Yes.
Thank you. As the votes are in order, the item is approved. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. There being no further business, they have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
So
all in favor?
moved.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn. We'll see everybody in October. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.